So top of 98, that sounds just about
Okay,
right.
sure, yeah.
Good. All right, just to remind folks, this chapter is called the lightning rod function. And I didn't do what I said I was going to do, which was go look up some of the scientific stuff that happens because I don't understand lightning rods. I mean, I know more about what the descriptions are showing in the picture than I do about the actual wording. Does anybody want to say anything about that? Did anybody do any research on lightning rod?
Not me. Guilty.
It's to absorb the electrical. Is that what lightning rod is, right? That when
Yeah,
lightning have it neutralizes, absorb kind of, right?
yeah, it's a, I think it's a relatively recent, man-made thing, a lightning rod. I don't think it's been around the whole time of man, but you put it on your house so that the lightning doesn't strike your house. It strikes that pole and then it's discharged.
Yeah.
That was just like remember the drawings we looked at this morning?
Yes, exactly.
There was the 3 houses and they had those.
Right, and that was that was, I think, more like maybe 100 or 200, at least 200 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the straw
More.
roofs wouldn't catch on fire.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Let's see where this takes us. Hans, would you start us at the top of page 98?
Absolutely. We must remember during the invocation of the Absolute that to the Absolute, infinite chaos is order and the passage of linear time. The reality of objects and the visual and sensational phenomena of identity and activity exist only mathematically. Held in place by invisible laws which themselves only exist mathematically as a horribly complex equation in which what are pure mathematical concepts to the Absolute are a substance to us. Just as mental and emotional force are also substances, but of a lower order than the mathematical matrix equation, which is the creation. The whole complexity of the creation is, to the Absolute, a construction in pure mathematics, which is called, in work terms, sacred geometry. Sacred geometry. Whoa.
Yeah, you want to do that again? At least just the last sentence?
The whole complexity of the creation is, to the Absolute, a construction in pure mathematics, which is called, in work terms, sacred geometry.
I guess that puts us in our place, doesn't it?
Oh.
Geometrically speaking, I mean. Many centuries ago, the Kabbalist Robert Flood invented a diagram with two triangles, one pointing upwards, the other pointing downwards. This figure illustrates the absolute in the upper part and the creation in the lower part as a mirror image of the absolute. At the top of the upper triangle, we find Kether, the absolute. At the bottom of the lower triangle, we find Hasatan, the holy adversary, which is the reflection of the absolute, at once closest and furthest away from the absolute. The highest in the reflected world is also farthest away from the absolute. The ramifications of this are enormous. Upon reflection, no pun intended, the reader can deduce for him or herself profound truths about the nature of the holy adversary. And
Stop.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about the highest in the reflected world is also farthest away from the absolute. That one got me. Hi, Bernie. The highest in the reflected world is also farthest away from the absolute. I don't get that.
Well, if you just look at the two triangles, one pointing up, one pointing down,
Okay.
then what is going to be the furthest away from the top of the triangle that points up is the point at the bottom of the triangle pointing down.
Right. Okay. I get it now.
That just geometrically, that's how it looks.
Right. And I'm sure getting the absolute being the upper triangle and creation being the reflection for the first time ever. I feel like I'm getting it to some degree.
Great. Well, shall we go on or read it again? Yeah, it's up to you.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. From where I started?
Well, it's a question. Do you want to go on or would you like to hear that paragraph again?
I'd like you to read where you started.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Many centuries ago, the Kabbalist Robert Flood invented a diagram with two triangles, one pointing upwards, the other pointing downwards. This figure illustrates the absolute in the upper part and the creation in the lower part as a mirror image of the absolute. At the top of the upper triangle, we find Kether, the absolute. At the bottom of the lower triangle, we find Hasatan, the holy adversary, which is the reflection of the absolute at once closest and furthest away from the absolute. The highest in the reflected world is also farthest away from the absolute. The ramifications of this are enormous. Upon reflection, no pun intended, the reader can deduce for him or herself profound truths about the nature of the holy adversary. Question: what might that mean? What could you deduce about the holy adversary?
Do you think it has any connection to the idea of Lucifer being like the firstborn and then falling?
I don't have the background to answer that, but it sounds likely to me. It says at the bottom of the lower triangle, and the lower triangle is the mirror image. So at the bottom of the lower triangle is the holy adversary. So what truths can you determine from that? It's like just proposing that it's a geographical thing, like what's at the top, what's at the bottom, what does it represent? You know, just geometrically, not the content, just the location. Hey, Jayesh, we're on page 98.
Yeah, thank you.
Uh-huh.
And what do you think Hasatan is? Is that like
Hasatan?
Hasatan?
Hasatan as in Satan, the devil?
Right, but I mean,
Yeah.
are we talking about a red guy running around with horns and a pitchfork, or are we just talking about negativity and wrongdoing or stuff? In your guys' opinion?
In my opinion, if you get out of the anthropocentric vision, that vision that we envision a bearded guy, all good, there in the cloud, and a very bad guy there in the inferno. We skip for a while that another vision can appear, and that vision that comes to me is that they're both together, even though opposite. That's my view.
So, Bernie, are you saying it's symbolic?
When I say anthropocentric is the way that we we understand. There is a way of semantic way. We are against the forces of evil. Can there be evil by itself, or we believe in the absolute that encompass everything? That's the words. That's the incognita that appears in this moment in me.
Thank you. Thanks, Wilson.
You're welcome. When you were talking about the guy in red running around doing things, the only one that kind of came to mind was Santa and not Satan.
But Santa always brought me presents.
Well, maybe Satan brings presents.
Presents? Boy, you're quick
or
on
presents?
You mean presence? As in be here now?
Yes. That's the best present.
Right.
of all presents.
I'm gonna.
Well,
go
at least
back.
we're having fun with all this heavy shit, right?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna go back a little bit. In the middle of that paragraph, it says, at the bottom of the lower triangle, we find Hasatan, the holy adversary. So, you know, my upbringing, that was Satan, not Hasatan, and it wasn't holy. But taking this configuration, that a holy adversary, in some sense, is a requirement of the situation. It can't be that there is an absolute that does not also have a holy adversary. If you're looking at the geometric triangle thingies, they can't be pointed only at the top. They also are pointed at the bottom.
Yeah.
So that is weird to me.
Well, to me, what comes up for me in that description, Pat, is the Egyptian water lily comes out of mud.
Oh,
So that's just what came up for me. Is you almost in that description, you can't have one without the other. They go together. But I don't know if they remain together if you're becoming more and more awake. So I don't know the answer there. It just, that's what I saw when you said the holy adversary.
yeah.
It's like you can't have beauty without the other. One is born from the other.
Mhm.
So which page we are on?
98.
I thought you said 63.
It didn't come out of my mouth that way. Maybe it got heard by your speakers that way.
Sorry.
We're dealing with opposites and adversaries here, so who knows, you know?
Yeah, for me at least.
Sandy, would you like to take us into the next paragraph?
Okay. This representation is also what we see in the figure known as Solomon's seal. In this figure, we see a balance between forces directly in relation to the absolute. To better understand this balance, we will break up the figure into its component parts. Did you want me to go on or just talk?
Yes, please.
First, we have the right side up triangle. From this triangle, we can develop a right side up pentacle. This figure represents prayer energy as it is sent upward to the benefit of the absolute. It is a representation of what we are trying to do with our work. And I'll pass that.
Thank you. Bernie.
Yes, thank you. If we take the other component part, the inverted triangle, and develop a pentacle from it, we will discover that it is an inverted pentacle. This figure represents a self-serving use of prayer, where we rob the absolute of its power. It is an aberrant use of prayer, where power and energy are literally drained from the absolute. Solomon's seals represents a balance between the two.
Yeah.
So that's like people praying for things, right?
Yeah. Give me.
Yeah. Praying for money, or I
Mhm.
guess even praying for better health and stuff, right?
Yes.
Anything that's not for the benefit of the absolute.
Right.
That's pretty powerful. I like how that upside down pentacle, I've never looked at that as an upside down before in my life.
Right. It's not, you don't see it that often.
I've never seen it. I don't know if I've ever, well, I've seen it before because I've been through this book before, but that was a long time ago, but I certainly don't remember it.
Mhm. Well, and Jay, can you please read us into the next? I don't
Yes.
know if it's a paragraph or a page and a half or what, but let's just go on with it a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. This can lead us into a very interesting exercise. By taking a transparent die in the shape of a three-dimensional triangle, pyramid, and placing it on a mirror, we can see for ourselves the principle of reflection that creates a universe. Every time the die falls on the mirror, a different universe is created. How it falls determines the nature of the universe in all its aspects. As with Flood's diagram, experience falls on the side of the mirror in the reflection. Life is created. The die, which represents the absolute, has no experience in all this. It remains itself unchanged and will pass.
Yes, but we've got to do some kind of taking of this apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got any ideas?
So in there is a Hindu, there is something called Sri Yantra. I'll show you the. Can I share the screen?
Yes.
So if you see
I don't know what to do to make it happen.
So
I hit share. Oh, you did it. Good.
yeah, so this is called Sri Yantra. So the way it is made is triangles upside down,
Yes.
and there are different types. I mean, I don't necessarily understand it, but it has this kind of, see this?
Yes.
And then there are different types of it. This is another type. So it has like three triangles and then three triangles upside down. Like see this one.
Yeah. So
This is not proper. It should be three. Three
okay.
triangles up and three triangles down.
Okay.
And the only thing I know is when I talked to Rajan one time, he said that this is used, like this comes in a small handheld metal sheets. This is all mostly like a Etsy. They are trying to make things.
Yeah.
But it comes in a small handheld metal sheet. And he said that you are supposed to visualize on top of it.
Oh.
So that's the exercise that needs to be done based on, so these triangles are the base, and you need to visualize on top of it. I don't know or maybe like a pyramid kind of thing that you have to visualize.
Yeah. Well, has anyone done this thing, taking a die in the shape of three-dimensional triangle and placed it on a mirror? Has anyone tried that?
No.
I can't visualize it. I don't see. It says, we can see for ourselves the principle of reflection that creates a universe.
Well, that's very helpful, Nishan. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, this is another one which is, it's like, but this is supposed to visualize.
Okay. So the first thing, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just reading it again. It says every time the die falls on the mirror, a different universe is created.
Yeah, I was just there.
Yeah.
Yeah. A transparent die, that is as in one dice. So not a pair of dice, but just one die. It still has all the sides. So
I remember the kaleidoscope when we were kids. It had the triangle, right, inside.
Oh, yeah?
Kaleidoscope, like for the kids to play with. So every time you rotate the thing, it has some glass pieces in it. You see a different combination.
Right. Well, it's just blatant here. It says every time the die falls on the mirror, a different universe is created. That is a description of the methodology or the mechanics of the creation of universes. Doesn't help me understand it any better. Beverly, would you like to read?
I'll read it, but
yeah, read the next paragraph.
I'll read the words.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
So it starts with as with Flood's diagram. Is that where we're starting? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. As with Flood's diagram, experience falls on the side of the mirror in the reflection. Life is created. The die, which represents the absolute, has no experience in all this. It remains itself, unchanged. Now the die can also represent the world of the heart. At the top of the pyramid is nirvana, at the bottom, samsara.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
But
JS. Oh, did somebody want to talk? Go for it.
no, I was just thinking, we don't want anything to do with nirvana or samsara, do we? Just a footnote.
Attachment at all costs is discouraged.
Thank you.
Yeah. But it's an interesting description, isn't it? I mean, you can almost see, a die being thrown on a mirror and kind of get get what this is projecting? Sort of. I think we'll get more.
I
JS,
remember.
yeah, go ahead.
I remember EJ talking about the movements as being sort of the fractioning of the one,
Yeah.
and you know how different arrangements of the movements would kind of represent a different manifestation, and gave us the idea of an exercise where you did, you know, posture 1-1, and then you did the last posture, you know, 5. So that kind of helps me understand the idea of the, like the kaleidoscope that Nishan mentioned, that, you know, it's one, but, or like the quilt, you know, the king is naked, but there is the quilt.
Yeah, patchwork quilt.
Patchwork quilt, yes. Jayesh, why don't you take us into the next bit and let's see if we can travel a little bit with these ideas now.
Okay. What is the number on the die?
We're on page 100, and if you start at the top of the paragraph that begins with the word luckily.
Luckily. Luckily for ordinary man, the machine can easily avoid accidental invocation. This is assured by its non-stop, completely mechanically proceeding associative thoughts, black moods, and negative manifestations. Even when the machine does happen to stop for a moment, it generally assumes, fortunately for all human beings everywhere, a slouching posture of indolent relaxation, arms and legs crossed or feet thrown across a desk, nowhere near an invoking posture. That sounds like me. Okay. But should the machine happen to accidentally fall into an invoking posture and at the same time remain awake, a rare occurrence in the ordinary course of event, we are apt to think we have momentarily gone out of our minds, and in a sense we are absolutely correct. Paranoia means literally beside the mind, meaning outside but hanging around very nearby. But even this is of no real consequence because, like all bad dreams, even an accidental invocation will go away eventually if we just ignore it. Anyone is capable of discovering invoking postures just by following the basic instructions for awakening the machine, but the easiest way to tell whether or not your postures are invocational is to assume several hundred postures until you are struck by lightning in the absolute sense.
Thank you. Artaman?
If you've ever actually been struck by lightning or stuck a finger into an electrical socket, you are well on your way to being able to recognize an invocational posture when you assume one. If you feel the same sensation again, but your finger is not presently inserted into an electrical socket, you can be reasonably sure that one way and another you have assumed the correct posture. Pass.
Well, once we have discovered how unpleasant the sensations are, if conscience is not very strong in us, if we are free from the call of Baraka, we can always just quit and seek the pleasures of life more or less nonstop, as we did before we ever heard of the work. But we should remember that there is nothing but the absolute. Everything we know is part of the absolute. We are not strangers here, and we are never going anywhere else. Pass.
I thought my plan was to move to Jupiter.
Well, you don't have to go to the expense. It'll be the same story. Go for it, Sandy.
Thank you. This world is the only world there is. And when the machine is awake, we can see it in its unveiled form. In this way, the kingdom is revealed. The vision of the kingdom should be sufficient to convince us that if we do not voluntarily help the absolute now, we will anyway someday, because we are part of the absolute, and our destiny is the same as that of the absolute. The angel of death, who was also sometimes seen as the angel of the Lord, is the absolute itself, momentarily descending. For those who are unprepared, that is, whose machines have not evolved in the sense that the higher centrums have activated themselves and formed as the higher emotional and mental bodies, even this momentary descent causes immediate death. If we learn to consciously die before we die, I'll give that to you again. If we learn to consciously die before we die, the angel of death is the friend. And as the absolute descends upon us, we will not automatically die. And I'll pass.
Thank you. Bernie.
Patty, tell me the paragraph, please.
Top of page 102, paragraph that starts with Socrates.
Thank you.
No,
Socrates.
I'm sorry. The paragraph.
Isn't it as do all organic creatures? Yeah.
As do all, yes.
As do all organic creatures, the human biological machine will also eventually die. But the being will not die with the machine if the machine is awake at the moment of death. Socrates, when he was asked the purpose of his philosophy, replied that he was practicing dying. We know that he periodically entered states which were strange to his contemporaries. If we know anything about prayer absolute, we can recognize that although he had another name for it, Socrates performed some experiment which often resulted in the descent of the absolute onto himself. It was in this way that Socrates learned to die before he died. Thank you.
Thank you. Nishant.
We must prepare the machine for the invocation of the Absolute, knowing that when the spirit of the Absolute descends upon us, the machine will momentarily die, by which I mean the machine will swoon into momentary death. The ancients had a saying, "No one sees God and lives." This actually has two meanings. One meaning is that no one can stand before the face of God and survive organically. The other meaning is literal, that no one, a nothingness, is able to see God and live, because someone who has realized, which is to say, made real his own nothingness, has already lost face, meaning one's sense of personal identity.
Can you give that to us again?
Yes.
And Michelle, we are on page 102.
Yeah. The ancients had a saying, "No one sees God and lives." This actually has two meanings. One meaning is that no one can stand before the face of God and survive organically. The other meaning is literal, that no one, a nothingness, is able to see God and live, because someone who has realized, which is to say, made real his own nothingness, has already, quote, lost face, meaning one's sense of personal identity.
So as a phrase, are you all familiar with the expression that someone has lost face? Do you know what that means?
Not exactly.
Beverly, did you want to say something about it?
I don't know if I can put it into words. Okay, lost face meant to me something about it is in some sort of disgrace among others.
Yeah.
That they're
like they feel shame, right?
Yeah.
That's part of the interesting thing in this paragraph is it's saying that if you have lost face in the real way, in the real sense, and you've made your sense of personal identity less, then you have the opportunity to see God and live, because your thing that would prevent you from doing that is gone. Does anybody see it like in some other way? Yeah, Bernie.
Yes, you're nothing.
Yes, you're nothing.
You're not a kind of individual with a personality. You're nothing. But you're alive anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
That is
remember.
very scary to be nothing. No, nothing is the void itself that we dare so much. No?
Yeah.
So like
Sorry,
sorry.
no.
So like you've been ultimately humbled.
Oh, more than humbled. You're like, you are nothing. You have no personal sense. You are not.
Beyond humbled.
Yeah.
So now I have a question. Okay. No personal sense. Am I the one that determines my loss of faith? Am I the one that says, does that have anything to do? Oh, yeah. Okay. Here's where I'm going. Does that have anything to do with a paranoia about feeling? I'm associating now loss of faith equals that I determine that I have been in disgrace, that I'm lesser than. Is that related in any way, the loss of faith? Or did I go somewhere else with that?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm looking back on page 100, the paragraph that is the second one from the bottom. It starts with, but should the machine, and it says paranoia means literally beside the mind, meaning outside the mind, but hanging around very nearby.
Uh-huh.
So as far as I can tell from what we've read so far, it has nothing to do with a mental state. It has to do with the lack of a mental state. In other words, that aspect of your quote self is of no significance.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't count. Because the saying on the paragraph we were reading, 102, the ancients had a saying, no one sees God and lives, actually has two meanings, meaning no one can stand before the face of God and survive organically. So you're going to die. And the other meaning is literally that no one, a nothingness, a no one who is not, is able to see God and live. It's a contradiction if you try and do it mathematically or with your mind or your brain or something. But if you can get inside of where this is leading, I think you can get somewhere.
I'm thinking a little bit about the Garden of Eden. At the beginning, where Adam and Eve, walked with God and there was no self-consciousness, but then the partaking of the tree of knowledge of good and even, differentiation, they became separate. And that was the first experience that it says they felt shame. So it seems to me that not only is there that sort of nothingness, but it's more an innocence and a lack of, you're not separate from all that is. You are part of that isness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Cameron. Mm-hmm.
So is it related to Naked King?
Hello?
The king who is naked?
Yes. Yeah. The king is naked. Yeah. Is that the expression you're saying? The king is naked?
Yeah, the face, because if you lose the face, in a way, that's what it rots down to, right? The king who is naked.
That's right.
Yeah, dangerous. It could be slow. You know, it's not living life, but you're meant to. That's right. No.
Michelle, turn off your speaker, please. Turn off your speaker. We can hear you. Oh dear. I think the expression that the king is naked refers to is in the next paragraph. And I'm going to read one sentence. Oh, it's only one sentence. And then we'll close for the day. But this is what I think we're going to here is the absolute has no identity. And because everything in the presence of the absolute is overwhelmed into the total lack of attributes of the absolute, all identity is washed away during ecstatic union with the absolute. Now, here's the assignment. We've got 2 weeks before we gather again. So take this sentence or that little paragraph at the bottom of page 102 and put it somewhere that you can ponder on it frequently over the next couple of weeks. And let's share with each other what that brings us. Because I know a lot of the time we read and we talk and we ponder and sometimes we walk away with some stuff. But for me, I know I don't pull it through for the 2 weeks. So I'm making the assignment for myself and I'll share that with you guys if you want to do it.
Is it actually like a paragraph, Patricia?
Yes, that paragraph at the bottom of page 102
that you just read.
That I just read.
That starts with the absolute and ends with the absolute.
That's the one.
Correct. Good. I'll do that.
Yeah, because I think we might be able to grasp that through the 2 weeks. I don't have any memory, so I can't carry stuff around, but I can write down that sentence and have it with me so I can ponder it when it comes out of my wallet. Anything else for today? I mean, I'm sorry to leave us in the middle of this, but it seems like where else could we be?
It's like, I'm just going to want to start this whole book all over again as soon as we end it. But on another note, I want to do something else.
Oh, sure. We're going to do both.
I'll do either or. I'll leave it up to you guys.
We started with creation story verbatim. I mean, come on, where else could we go?
You said it.
Yeah.
We cannot go anywhere, didn't we read that?
Say again?
Haven't we read that? You cannot go anywhere, you're here. Stuck.
I can't get your words. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Write it in the...
We cannot go anywhere, right?
Correct. Yes, we're not going anywhere.
Where can we go?
Well, are we ending our time together right now?
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock and there's a couple of other things going on.
Well, I wanted to, this is after the ending of this session, but then I'll lose the question. But Hans, can you tell me where you live?
Me?
Yes.
I live in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Oh, thank you, Hans.
Where do you live, Beverly?
I live in California, in Grass Valley, a hop, skip, and a holler from everyone else that lives.
Oh, how lovely. I wish I lived there. I wish I lived where you lived.
Well, you're always invited.
Thank you.
That is true.
I hope to see you in summer somewhere.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
that. Labor
You'll be there, right, Jess?
Yeah, Labor Day I was talking about.
Yeah,
You'll be there, right, Jess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we'll have a gathering that Beverly will be invited to attend with us.
Thank you. That
Yeah.
sounds delightful.
So
Absolutely.
we all have said yes for LRS reading. So Pat, I hope you're ready.
If my passport comes in the mail, I'll be there too.
That's what my brother just told me, and he's trying to go to where you are.
Is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Forever.
hilarious.
No, he's been there for a while.
Okay, good.
So now I'm going to ask us all to say the 4 lines. I see there's one more chat, one more thing in the chat. Okay. Yes, we can stay after school. Thank you.
Okay, great.
And in my world, when I say the 4 lines, I try and have them resonate with something that I'm either doing or thinking or seeing at the moment. So I don't make it abstract, I make it current.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So bless you all. All.
Oh,
Phenomena is illusion, neither attracted nor repelled,
making
not
and
making any sudden move. My habit will carry me through. Thank you.
Thanks all. See you next time.
Thank you, everyone.
See you. Thank you. Alon.
Shalom.